Is Donald Trump going to be the end of journalism as we know it? Many journalists are predicting he's going to start a war on the press. But what does his record say? Let's take a look. Welcome to Newspeak, I'm Holly Kellum. After Trump pretty decisively won the 2024 election, journalists and media figures of all stripes started warning that we were in for a post-democratic New World Order.
I also think a lot of people are very scared tonight. When you look at the proposals that Donald Trump has laid out for a second term when it comes to just immigration alone, a travel ban 2.0. He wants to end birthright citizenship for babies born to the United States to undocumented parents. He wants to use the Alien and Enemies Act of 1978 to dismantle, to deport gang leaders. That is a law that has not been used since World War II to intern Japanese Americans in this country.
I am skeptical that a Trump administration would usher in any sort of unification. I think the fact that President-elect Trump won the popular vote actually emboldens him to pursue the most extreme parts of his agenda.
Given how outspoken you have been, are you concerned about your personal security if Donald Trump wins this election, as he well may do?
What do you think happens to you if he wins?
Well, I'm out of here. I mean, I'm already working on a foreign passport.
Now, it's not just Trump's political opponents they say he'll go after. Media organizations believe they are in the crosshairs too.
The free press needs to give the people of this country assurances that they will not become state TV, that they will stand and fight together. They will put aside rivalries and petty professional differences. They will stand and fight together as the free press, as the fourth estate, as an institution that is a pillar of our democracy.
A ProPublica editor told his staff, "We face the biggest test of our professional lives. Now we get to see if we really meant it when we said we will hold power to account. Will we do so when our subjects have true power on their side and a willingness to use it?" He believes that Trump's second term will be worse for the media because of the Supreme Court decision declaring presidents presumptively immune from prosecution for official acts, as well as the return of Republican control of the Senate and perhaps the House, meaning there will be few, if any, checks on the power of the president. New York Times managing editor Carolyn Ryan warned staff in October about the Justice Department potentially being weaponized after Trump gets into office. She said the way we cover the Justice Department would have to be reshaped, and that there have been very explicit threats from Trump about us in the media. I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but as an institution, we have to prepare for that as well. The U.S. Executive Director of Reporters Without Borders warned last year that Donald Trump and his advisors have made it clear that from day one, he'll behave like a dictator in the White House who will target the independent media that criticize him. So what is the evidence they cite that Trump is going to be a dictator and target the press? Well, the most recent example is Trump joking that if someone tries to assassinate him again, they're going to have to shoot through reporters first.
I have a piece of glass over here, and I don't have a piece of glass there. And I have this piece of glass here, but all we have really over here is the fake news, right? And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind that.
Media columnist Margaret Sullivan pointed out that Trump threatened to change libel laws during his first term, but then when he got into office, he never did.
I'd love to see our libel laws get toughened up so you could take people and sue them.
But speaking of lawfare, a lot of journalists point to his lawsuits against ABC and its host George Stephanopoulos. Stephanopoulos said Trump was charged with rape in the E. Jean Carroll case, which Trump denies, but a 9-person civil jury in Manhattan found that Trump sexually abused her, but that she failed to prove he raped her.
Judges and 2 separate juries have found him liable for rape and for defaming the victim of that rape. How do you square your endorsement of Donald Trump with the testimony we just saw?
He also recently sued CBS News for editing Kamala Harris's 60 Minutes interview, saying CBS was trying to protect her to help her campaign. And he's also hinted that CBS should have its broadcast license revoked.
They're using the public airwaves. With cable, you don't have that. Cable's different. But, you know, it's just a different deal. But with the networks, they give those licenses. They're worth billions of dollars. They give them out free, but you have to be honest and all. That was bad.
He has also sued the Pulitzer Prize Board for libel over awarding the Washington Post and New York Times prizes for their reporting on the Trump campaign's alleged ties to Russia. And then there was the incident with CNN journalist Jim Acosta. He refused to give up a microphone during a White House press conference, prompting the Trump White House to revoke his press pass. CNN took the matter to court, and eventually Acosta's press pass was restored. But possibly the most delegitimizing thing Trump has done to the press is to popularize the term fake news.
The problem is the fake news never puts the tapes on. They get angry when I say it, the fake news. All they have to do is just move it up 2 inches like this. And they don't do it because they're fake news. Oh, that's a lot of fake news back there. Look at that.
Now, I happen to believe that Trump tapped into rather than created this anger at the media, but I don't think that makes journalists any less uneasy at how popular that term has become. They see Trump using his bully pulpit to attack the media as throwing gas on the flames. They point to examples like this, a Trump supporter yelling at the press just after Trump's assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania.
This is your fault! Every asshole! This is your fault! It is your fault! This is your fault!
Guardian media columnist Margaret Sullivan again wrote, "There's nothing to suggest that Trump would soften his approach in a second term. If anything, we can expect even more aggression." And media organizations are warning that American journalists' safety is more precarious than ever. On the other hand, there is no shortage of examples of the press calling Trump's behavior fascist, a threat to democracy, and his actions, whether rightly or wrongly, criminal. Now, if you are watching this on YouTube, you are probably not enamored of the mainstream media. And look, I don't blame you. I think a lot of people feel that the mainstream media has lost touch with a lot of Americans and their values. And I think what's also at play here is that a lot of American journalists see themselves as part of the resistance instead of bona fide journalists who just stand up to anyone who's in power. Now, in terms of how Trump was in his first term as US president, well, as someone who covered him in the Trump White House, I have to say that there was incredible access to him as president. So you may remember that there was a period of time where Sarah Sanders stopped doing press briefings. But in exchange for that, we actually got a lot of access to the president himself. Now, if you look at the Biden-Harris administration, it actually became a big concern of journalists that they never had direct access to the president, or at least very rarely. Now, looking back, you can probably see that the White House staff were trying to protect Biden from the press, but it didn't make it any less frustrating for the journalists who were responsible for covering the White House. And then if you look at the Obama administration, where Obama wiretapped journalists from the AP and Fox News trying to stop the national security leaks, there have been a lot worse cases of attacks on journalism, and somehow the media has survived. So what do you think about Trump's second term? Do you think this is going to be the end of the media as we know it? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, I'm Holly Kellum, and you're watching Newspeak.